Southern Africa. The dawn of the 19th century. A land of rolling grasslands, mountains, and rivers. Villages scattered across the land, ruled by chiefs and clans. Life revolved around cattle, kinship, and tradition. Yet beneath the quiet rhythm of life, tensions brewed, competition for land, cattle raids, and the first stirrings of European colonial ambitions. And then, out of the dust of obscurity, rose one man who would change everything. His name, Shaka Zulu. His rise to power would unleash a storm, sending shockwaves across southern Africa. A storm so powerful, history remembers it as the Mfecane, the crushing. Born in 1787 in the Zulu clan to Chief Senzangakona Kajama and his young lover Nandi, Shaka's arrival was marked by scandal. Because Nandi was not a recognized wife, Shaka was branded illegitimate, a bastard child. At age 6, Shaka and his mother were expelled from the Zulu royal homestead, forced to wander from clan to clan. From the beginning, Shaka's life was defined by rejection, hardship, and survival. He grew up mocked by peers, carrying the sting of humiliation. But in his heart, he nurtured a flame of ambition. The outcast boy would one day command entire nations. During this exile, Shaka and Nandi lived under the protection of the Zulu Kingdom, ruled by Chief Ndwandwe, a leader known for his openness to innovation. Shaka grew tall, strong, and fierce. He became a warrior in Ndwandwe's army around 1802, where his brilliance as a fighter and strategist first shone. In Ndwandwe's army, Shaka trained in traditional warfare, light skirmishes with assegai throwing spears and hit-and-run tactics. But he grew dissatisfied. He noticed how warriors often missed their targets, leaving enemies alive. Shaka asked a question that no one dared: why throw away your spear when you can drive it into your enemy's heart? He forged a new weapon, the Ikla, a short stabbing spear with a broad blade. Its name came from the sound it made when pulled from a man's chest, Ikla. He also reorganized warriors into disciplined regiments called Amabutho, each group based on age and loyalty, not family ties. Training was brutal. Warriors marched barefoot over thorns and sharp stones to toughen their feet. Cowards were executed. Victory was the only law. In 1816, Chief Senzangakona, Shaka's father, died. His successor, Shaka's half-brother Sigajana, became chief of the Zulu. Backed by Ndwandwe and his Mfecane warriors, Shaka seized the throne. Sigajana was assassinated. Shaka, the outcast, was now chief of the Zulu. With fire in his eyes, Shaka swore to turn the Zulu from a scattered clan into a nation that would shake the earth. He transformed the Zulu into a war machine. Warriors lived in military kraals, villages. Ceremonies bound men to lifelong loyalty. The buffalo horns formation became his signature. Chest, main force attacked head-on. Horns, young warriors encircled the enemy. Loins, reserves stayed behind, ready to strike. Victories came swiftly. Neighboring clans fell, their survivors absorbed into the growing Zulu nation. By 1820, Shaka commanded thousands of warriors and ruled lands stretching across KwaZulu-Natal. But Shaka's rise was not contained. Like a stone dropped in water, the waves spread outward. The Zulu conquests ignited migrations, wars, and chaos across southern Africa. This was the Mfecane. Shaka's wars displaced entire clans. Tribes fled north, west, and south in search of safety. The Ndwandwe, led by Sobhuza I, moved into the highlands of present-day Swaziland. Moshoeshoe I gathered refugees and forged the Zulu Kingdom in the mountain strongholds of present-day Lesotho. Mzilikazi, once a lieutenant under Shaka, broke away in rebellion. He led his followers north, carving out the powerful Zulu Kingdom in Zimbabwe by the late 1820s. The Swana states in the west collapsed under refugee pressure, while others migrated as far as Zambia, Malawi, and Tanzania. 1822. Shaka consolidates his capital at Bulawayo, Bulawayo, meaning the place of the persecuted, a grim symbol of his iron rule. By 1825, the Zulu Kingdom stretched from the Chigela River to the Pongola River. Shaka commanded over 50,000 warriors. His power was unrivaled in southern Africa. Europeans began hearing whispers of the Black Napoleon ruling with fire and spear. To his people, he was a father and a tyrant. To enemies, he was the thunder of war. To history, he was the maker of nations. Shaka opened cautious diplomacy with British traders at Port Natal, Durban. He traded ivory and cattle for firearms, though he distrusted the gun, preferring his regiment's discipline. Hold a second, you have watched to this extent and you haven't hit the like button and subscribe. Like this video so more people will get to see this video, and if you're interested in Deep Africa history videos, consider subscribing, so you will be notified if I post new video tomorrow. Thank you. Let's continue. October 1827, Shaka's beloved mother, Ndwandwe, died. Her loss shattered him. In grief, Shaka imposed extreme mourning rituals. Planting of crops was forbidden. Milk, a staple food, was banned. Thousands were executed for showing insufficient grief. His once loyal generals began to whisper. The king was losing balance. Shaka's empire was not built in silence. It was forged in the fire of war, sharpened on the edge of the Ikla. One of the most decisive wars was against the Ndwandwe Kingdom, led by Zwide Ka Langa. The Ndwandwe were powerful, ruling over vast lands north of the Zulu. In 1818, Ndwandwe of the Mfecane was killed by Zwide. For Shaka, this was personal. He inherited the Mfecane alliances and prepared for vengeance. Jeekly Hill, 1818. Shaka faced the Ndwandwe with a smaller force. Using terrain and his buffalo horn strategy, he lured Zwide's forces uphill, then encircled them. Thousands of Ndwandwe warriors were slaughtered. Though Zwide survived, the Ndwandwe were fatally weakened. Mtu's River, 1819. A year later, the Ndwandwe launched another campaign. Shaka trapped them along the riverbanks. Exhausted and starved, the Ndwandwe crumbled. Survivors fled in all directions. This dispersal became a major catalyst of the Mfecane. Defeat at the hands of Shaka did not end the Ndwandwe. It scattered them. And from those fleeing embers, new fires of kingdoms would rise. Among Shaka's generals was Mzilikazi Ka Mashibane, a brilliant but ambitious warrior. Shaka entrusted him with raids into the Highveld. But Mzilikazi kept the cattle for himself instead of delivering them to the Zulu king. Enraged, he sent regiments against Mzilikazi. Defeated, Mzilikazi fled north with his followers. He carved out the Zulu Kingdom in present-day Zimbabwe, which itself would spread turmoil in Central Africa. The Mfecane was not only the story of conquest, it was the story of splintering. Leaders like Mzilikazi carried Shaka's methods beyond Zululand, igniting fresh upheaval in distant lands. But what was life like within Shaka's kingdom, away from the battlefield? Shaka's rule was marked by discipline and centralization. Cattle were the currency of wealth, tribute, and loyalty. Captured women and children were absorbed into the Zulu, swelling their numbers. Warriors were forbidden to marry until they had proven themselves in battle, a way to ensure loyalty to the king first. His future capital, Bulawayo, was not just a homestead but a military complex. Thousands of warriors housed in regimental kraals. Ceremonial gatherings, war dances, and festivals reinforced unity. Shaka himself ruled from the center, accessible yet feared. He demanded absolute obedience. A warrior who dropped a spear in battle could be executed. Cattle thieves faced death. But loyalty was rewarded with cattle, wives, and honor. To live under Shaka was to live under the shadow of greatness and terror. He demanded the best and punished the rest. For generations, historians told us that the Mfecane, the crushing, was caused by Shaka's bloodlust alone. But was that the whole truth? Colonial historians of the 19th century painted Shaka as a savage tyrant whose wars scattered tribes. This narrative served European powers. It justified their colonization, portraying Africans as destructive to themselves. Modern historians argue it was more complex. Climate change and drought in the late 18th century increased pressure on land and cattle. Slave raiders from Portuguese Mozambique destabilized communities. European trade for ivory and cattle weapons also fueled competition. So was the Mfecane the work of one man, or the result of global forces pressing down on Africa? Perhaps it was both, Shaka's spear meeting the world's hunger. During Shaka's reign, Europeans were only beginning to appear on the Natal coast. In 1824, traders like Henry Francis Fynn and Francis Farewell arrived at Port Natal, today Durban. They befriended Shaka, bringing him gifts, cloth, beads, even muskets. To the Europeans, Shaka was both opportunity and danger. To Shaka, they were curiosity, useful, but never essential. He allowed them to settle near Port Natal, granting land. Shaka even used European doctors to treat his wounds after an assassination attempt in 1824. Yet he never adopted firearms widely. He trusted his warriors' discipline more than foreign powder. Rival clans sent assassins who stabbed Shaka. Mfecane treated him, saving his life. Shaka rewarded him with cattle and land. In those moments, history balanced on a knife's edge. Had Shaka embraced European guns fully, the course of southern Africa might have been rewritten. September 22, 1828, Shaka was assassinated at Sobhuza by his half-brothers Ndwandwe and Mfecane, aided by warrior Mbofa. His body was thrown into a grain pit, secretly buried. The lion of the Zulu had fallen, but the shockwaves he unleashed continued long after his death. Even after his assassination in 1828, Shaka's systems endured. The Zulu Kingdom remained powerful under his half-brother Ndwandwe, late Mpande, and finally Sobhuza I, who led the Zulu against the British in the Anglo-Zulu War of 1879. The Mfecane's migrations left behind new states and nations that still exist today. Lesotho, Moshoeshoe I's mountain kingdom. Swaziland, Sobhuza I. Zimbabwe's Ndwandwe under Mzilikazi. Shaka's reign lasted only 12 years. Yet in those 12 years, he redrew maps, created nations, and set into motion migrations that spanned a continent. His spear carved not just wounds, but history. Shaka Zulu's story still echoes today, in the pride of nations, in the resilience of people, and in the lessons of history. By liking and sharing this video, you help more people discover Africa's true past beyond the colonial myths. And if you subscribe, you become part of a community keeping these stories alive for the